Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for having me today. My name is Tracey Coutts, and I'm the Active School Travel Coordinator with EverActive Schools. I have been working with a number of communities, but one of my favorites, well, I can't say that, we're not supposed to, is the Parkland County School Division. We have been working with them for about a year and a half now. They're a super engaged and super motivated group of schools who are growing active transportation, it seems like on a daily basis. So, welcome to Active School Travel, Students Leading Change in Parkland School Division 70. As I said, I work with EverActive Schools. Our vision is that all Alberta students belong to healthy school communities that enable optimum health and learning. If you want any more information, please visit our website. I have a lot to present on the kids, so we're going to scan through some of these opening slides. Terminology that you'll want to remember. What is active transportation? What is active school travel? Well, it's a human-powered means of getting to and from school. What is school travel planning? So you'll see these come up in the presentation. School travel planning is a proven approach that supports students in using active travel on their school journey and contributes to healthy, active living. And what is comprehensive school health? This is an internationally recognized and effective approach for building healthy school communities. It can be used to address a variety of health issues and can improve health, education, and social outcomes for children and youth. So what does school travel planning look like? What does the process look like? So we like to work with schools for at least a year and a half to 2 years, because in order to create behavior change, that doesn't happen in a month. It doesn't happen in 2 months. It happens over a long haul. But it's a really pleasant journey. So for the first 4 to 6 months, we do project setup, we onboard schools, we talk to parents, we talk to students, we talk to staff, and then we start collecting baseline data. We have a parent travel, a family travel survey, a student travel survey. We do a walkabout or environmental scan of the school area and community around the school, just so that we can see where the barriers are that are getting in the way of students traveling actively to and from school. We also do traffic observations with the students and traffic counts. We like to get a really clear picture of what's happening in that community before we go in and try to make some changes. And then what we do after we collect all that baseline data, we create an action plan. And that action plan focuses on education, encouragement, engineering, enforcement, and evaluation. And of course, all seen through that equity lens. And then we simply spend the next year implementing those actions. And we use everybody who's available to help us in implementing those actions. Students are always at the core. They are always leading the charge because, quite frankly, they're the most fun to work with. And then after we have implemented all of those action plans, we send out some follow-up surveys, some follow-up family surveys, student surveys to see if any of those actions made a difference. And quite frankly, in every school we work with, what we see after about a year is that there's a 5 to 7% increase in active transportation, which is phenomenal. Okay, and how does comprehensive school health infuse with STP? Well, you can see it here, is that we focus clearly on social physical environments, teaching and learning, partnerships and services, and healthy school policy. So right now, as an example of that, we're working with schools in Calgary to change their no skateboard, no scooter policy. And students are leading the charge on that one. Okay, so is active school travel really that important? Why are we focusing so much attention on this? Well, by George, it is. What are some of the benefits of active transportation? Just give me a few. Shout them out. Great exercise. Less traffic congestion. Great for your mental health. Awareness of surroundings. Thank you. Great for the environment. All of those great things. Okay, this is a fantastic quote from George Mammon, who's a PhD from the University of Toronto, who says that children who walk to school have been found to have higher academic performance in terms of attention, alertness, verbal, numeric, and reasoning abilities, higher degree of pleasantness, and lower levels of stress during the school day, on and on and on. Okay? There is so much research that supports active transportation. We have to wonder, why are we not doing it more? Why do we keep starting down this journey and stopping? Okay, we need to keep going with it. Okay, also, active school travel helps children build those core competencies, which are so important. And later, if you want, I'd love to tell you a story about my kids, because they all travel actively, and their stories of their journeys to and from school are hilarious. Okay? So without further ado, allow me to introduce you to some real change makers. So these are the kids that we're working with in Parkland School Division who are really making change. Sorry. Okay, great. Step one. So we are working with Ecole Broxton Park in Stony Plain Central, and here we have some students. And they are collecting baseline data. They are out doing some traffic counts in their hug and go. They're seeing who's doing what, who's parking in the no parking, who's jaywalking, and they're recording all of this data because we need a clear picture. And I'm going to tell you, if you don't think 9-year-olds know what the traffic laws are, you're wrong. Okay? And this is a real lesson. This is one of the funniest things because we send them out there for 3 days before and after school. And what we see is that on the 3rd day, the parent's behavior starts to change. That's a 9-year-old with a clipboard. Okay? So if you think parents don't know the rules of the road, you're wrong. Okay? They know exactly what they're doing, and if it takes a 9-year-old with a clipboard, then that's where we'll go. Okay? So what they found, okay, so students also participated in the walkabout or environmental scan, and they found that, there was this, electronic speed sign, great, but there is no speed limit sign on the road where this electronic sign was posted. So it would tell you your speed, but you'd have no idea what the speed limit was. Okay, or you could guess, of course. Okay, this crosswalk was underused. Okay, lots of people were jaywalking in front of Ecole Broxton Park. And then there was an opening in the fence that led right into the staff parking lot and right into the bus lane where buses were dropping off, so it's extremely dangerous. Okay, so after we collected all of that great baseline data, the students went about and created an action plan. What are we going to do to change some of this behavior? Because it's this behavior that's getting in the way of students traveling actively. Okay, so they went through the engineering, education, encouragement, enforcement, evaluation, and equity. And here we go, step 3. So they created their action plan, and then they started implementing it. And what they found was that, you know what, we need to educate our fellow students how to cross streets properly, how to cycle properly. So we called in the professionals, fantastic peace officers who work in Parkland School Division, who came in on a short call. They were so keen to help out because you know what they said to us? You guys are helping us do our job. That's awesome. Okay? Also what we did was we created poster signs. These are just laminated posters because one thing schools have, lots of sidewalks, lots of fences. Use them. This is a very cheap thing to do. Dollar store, $1. Laminated Staples, I think it was 10. Okay? For $11, we're communicating a great message out to the public. And I didn't make that sign. That's students at that school made that sign. And then, of course, showing students what the proper cycle signals are. Okay? And then encouragement through special event days. So, and SHAPE's Walking Buddies program, posters, newsletter articles, and school signs. So students were involved in each and every one of these activities. So when I say special event days, I'm talking Winter Walk Day, International Walk to School Day, Wheel Week, okay? Students are constantly promoting, and then they come up with their own days. Earth Day Walk, a WOW Day, Walk and Wheel on Wednesday, okay? Anything goes, it's great. Okay, so where are we? Students leading change. So now that was the education and encouragement piece. Okay, those are fairly easy to do with students at their school, but we really needed some engineering fixes and maybe some enforcement. So what did we do? Well, when the going gets tough, the tough present. So off we went, our hardy group of presenters, and we walked from the school, of course, to Parkland School Division head office, because that's just what we do in active transportation. And these 3 students presented to a board of trustees. And I'll tell you, when I walked in that room, I was a little intimidated. But these steadfast 10-year-olds showed me up. Okay, and because they presented, what they earned was a traffic sign. Okay, and these guys didn't just present to the Board of Trustees, they presented to the City of Spruce Grove, the Town of Stony Plain, to the board, you name it. If they needed it, we presented to it. Okay, so it was great. So, and this is what they earned. See that traffic limit sign? Speed limit sign, sorry. They now have a school crossing guard, safety patrol, so that more students are using that crossing by the church in front of École Broxton Park, okay, and crossing safely, and that gap in the hole, that gap in the fence is now closed. So because of their efforts, they made change, safe change, and because of that, more students are walking and wheeling. Okay, so what happens next? Okay, so action planning 2.0. When we finish one action plan, when we finish implementing it, we simply create another. It's a Word document. This is no formal process. This is a Word document that says, this is our action, who's going to do it, and when are we going to do it by? It's really easy. Okay? Also, we are moving on to another project in that area. It's a wayfinding project. Okay? And is anybody familiar with wayfinding? Okay, awesome. So what wayfinding is, for active people who travel actively, it is sign markers, very much like street signage, but on trails and so forth, to show people, to orient people where they are in their community. Okay, student leadership opportunities. So here we have Greystone Centennial School, sorry. So this group of leadership students is amazing. So we host in Spruce Grove, Stony Plain, and Wabamun, we host pedestrian parades. And these are parades to promote mental health. Now, these students last year came to our parade, decked out, they were clearly into this event. So what feedback that we received from schools about that event told us that we needed to communicate better with schools as to what the event was all about and to promote it. So we said, who better to promote it than this group of fantastic leadership students? So we approached them with that idea, and they were on board. So they are currently going from school to school in Parkland School Division to promote the event and talk to kids about mental health. It's a fantastic, what a leadership opportunity for them. And then further, just an add-on to pedestrian parades, we are adding one thing onto our pedestrian parades by having a group of students bike from Stony Plain Central to École Broxton Park. And why they're doing this is because there is no real safe path to follow when you're biking from Stony Plain to Spruce Grove. So they have taken it upon themselves to route out the safest route to do this. What's the safest way for us to do this? And also to draw attention to it. That, you know what, we're biking. It was great up until this point. So, and we can take that, all of that great experiential data and feed it into the city. And say, you know what, we had a group of students cycle this. We want people out there, we want them cycling. We want them doing it safely and properly. I think the best option here is maybe to invest in a path between the two communities. This is how students make change. And I will tell you, every time, if this happens, just like the students at École Broxton Park, if this happens, every time they pass that feeling of pride, that I have made change. I am a citizen who can do things, and I know how to do them properly. Right? Okay. Actually, I'm early. Okay, so these video links. So we also, what we did, now this wasn't in Parkland School Division, but we also wanted to reach parents. And the best way to reach parents is social media, absolutely. Okay, I'm not saying we're not going to do this in Parkland County, but I just happened to have a contact in Calgary who was already doing this with her kids. So I said, hey, would you mind putting together some social media sound bites for us? And I'll share them province-wide. And she said, sure, sounds like a great idea, because just like us, she wants more students traveling actively. Because it's just the right way to go. Okay, so this lady's name is Van Colden, and she and her kids, through her hashtag Get Kids Out page, please check it out, it's awesome. Okay, she has a number of active school travel sound bites. You are welcome to share them with whomever you like, because they are fantastic, they are motivational, they are educational, okay, all of those great things, and it's her kids who do most of the work. So those kids are change makers too. And kids reach parents. Kids are really good at reaching adults in their community. I can go up to a car, if I see a car stopped and the no stopping, I can go up, and I'll tell you, I've been told more than one time exactly what to do with my comment. But if parents see a sign on a fence drawn by a child that says, please don't stop in our school stop zone because it's unsafe, makes our school zone unsafe, as a parent, as an adult, what are you going to do? It's like, okay, sorry about that. I won't do this anymore, okay? Your heart goes out and you are more willing to make that change. And that's where these students are going, and that's why with Everactive, we love to work with these students because they want to change. Every time I walk into a classroom, I do an informal poll. How many of you travel actively? Maybe about 25% of the hands go up. How many of you want to? 80%. Okay? We are creating these barriers for them to travel actively. And we need to take down those barriers. Thank you so much for your time, everybody.
Good job. Good job. And I think the interesting takeaway, which is a nice tie to the next presentation, was the students leading change. And so our next presenters are the youth themselves who are championing other youth and being the mentors for them. So we're going to call up the Siksika N7 program, which comes from a very innovative partnership between Siksika Health Services and Nike. And they have been inspirational in the work that they are doing and will continue to do, using recreation, culture, wellness to combat things like social isolation, the very complex problems that we've been hearing about, like preventing teen suicides and very big issues. So I'm just going to call up Siksika and 7. They'll tell their own story to us. And yeah, so don't be shy, boys. And ladies, sorry.
7 was created by, it was an idea for the youth in the community to have a program that would enable them to be peer-to-peer leaders in our community. And these young fellas here and ladies here were identified with the leadership from Siksika Health Services. And the program was initiated with the signing of a partnership MOU with Nike N7 back in 2011. And I believe the individual was Sam what's his name? McCracken. Sam McCracken. That's him with Tyler White, the CEO of Health Services, Janice Dorr, and I believe one of his associates from N7. The vision of N7 is to empower and motivate youth to know who they are and inspire their families in the community. And with the individuals we have on the team, I believe we're moving in the right direction. The mission is to provide youth programs and activities and services in the community. And this is just an example of some of the camps that we hold. We try to be as frequent as possible. We've ran programs out of the sportsplex, but transportation is an issue. I don't know if any of you have been to Siksika, but Siksika is vast. It's basically an hour from one end to the other if you're going 100 kilometers. So transportation has been our biggest obstacle. Some of the trainings that the N7 have received is essential life skills. They've received communication training. They've gone through conflict resolution training, healthy relationships. They've received their first aid. Save the Children, are any of you guys familiar with Save the Children? So they're a global organization that are disaster response like Red Cross. SN7 is trained from Save the Children to be a part of that response plan, to look after the kids, because everybody's worried about the adults and getting them to a safe place. You have mental health first aid, talking with the parents, but the kids are always left out, and that's where they come in. And we've gone through some drills. It's kind of neat, actually. A lot of our staff have received mental first aid, and that deals with depression, and they're given essential life skills. So some of the life skills that we promote when our programs are running, we always talk to the youth involved, and we talk to them about being aware of their feelings, being aware of who they trust, talking about their body image and their body language, and just being confident in themselves and accepting who they are and teaching them how to be themselves. We talk to them about the importance of identifying people in their family they could trust, and we deliver a message where they can come speak to us if they're shy, if they're scared. We approach them. We've got guys like Ethan and Grant. We've got Spike Eagle Speaker back, who has actually become our culture coordinator. Some of the values that we display consistently are respect, and by respecting, we honor and respect ourselves and those around us. Accountability. Staff that we've identified, we've identified tons of youth that have come onto SN7, but the ones that stick with us are the ones that carry themselves with integrity and accountability. They're dedicated in showing up to everything we do. These are the values that are very beneficial to our work and contribute. We've identified the challenges that are in our community, and they come in all areas, but mainly our concern was the youth partaking in risk behavior and listening to bad influences, and a lot of that is helping them identify, giving them self-confidence, and identify individuals that they can trust in their family and in their communities. Again, we have some of the skills that the SN7 utilize on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to have Riley come over and talk about some of the images you see here.
So yeah, with the SN7 program, we usually do like community events. So such as every year we have our annual Siksika Health Fair, and I believe this year is the 19th annual. So every year it's been growing, and not only that, but the most important part is we usually bring in an Aboriginal role model, whether it's mainly in sports. So this year we're inviting Jordan Tutu, and over the years we had some really great inspirational individuals. So not only that, but it really, with those individuals, they really inspire the community, also our group. And every year we'd always like assist with Siksika Health Services in their events, whether it be the annual diabetes walk, mental health week, and so on and so forth. And so every year we always like help out with another yearly event called the Siksika Run as One. So it's basically it's a week-long awareness week, and every day throughout the week it leads on to our annual powwow fair. And so we do this like whether it be like 2 days worth of workshops, sports night, golf tournament, and etc. And so it's usually a really main attraction and big event in our reserve. And so yeah, those are the events I was referring to. So Christmas craft night, act of kindness, Save the Children, basketball camps, yada, yada, yada.
Okay, so I was actually telling him to talk about something else, but this is good. So what he forgot was we did a few events this year, not too long ago. We brought in Team India, and they actually versed against our Team Siksika midget girls. And it was a very good collaboration, and it was good interest in trying new food. It was very good. If you got, it was good, it was interesting. So in this picture, as you guys can see, I don't know if you guys know Nabinamik. So what Nabinamik is, I don't know if you guys heard about in Ontario and a lot of the other most remote communities in the north, they're going through some very detrimental times at this moment, and they still are, and they're still going through it, right? So in our first picture, on this left-hand side, that's our crisis team, and our Siksika SN7, we're a big part of the crisis team on our reservation. If they ever needed our help, we're there for the youth. Unfortunately, we don't really know how to talk to y'all, but we're there. I'm just joking. But anyways, so right there is, in this picture, so there's when the adults went, and then afterwards they sent a team of youth, and so this happens to be the first team of youth to ever go on to, let's say, an expedition like this, right? It was a good experience. It was an experience none like you can get at home, that's for sure. Like a block of butter up there, I'm not lying. You know those block of butters that you get at the store, like 500 milliliter block of butters, those square rectangle ones? Up there, costs about 15, 16 bucks for one of those square butters. Out here, $2, And when we were going over there, we were trying to bring on a flat of water. It costs about 80 bucks to bring a flat of water on the plane, And so those are just a little bit of the things that they deal with up there. And it was really cool seeing, they had a trade-in post up there. Okay, their grocery store wasn't called a grocery store or the convenience store or the C-store or a 7-Eleven. It was called the Trade-in Post, and over there they sold everything between furs, guns, and duct tape. They sold it all. And so here's our leader that went with us. His name's Rosario. Yeah, Rose, we called him Rosary. He was a good guy. And then there's our team. And in this plane, it was quite weird. I don't know if you guys ever been to these northern communities. It's literally like they don't got no roads, right? It's all winter roads, right? So when you're flying up on those planes, literally you're going up. As soon as you get up, you're going down. 10 minutes, you're going up. You're going down. I think we went up 7 times, and in that 7 times, I ain't good with planes or anything. And there's the guy that had to sit beside me, and he had the aisle seat, thankfully. So I was just, pass me one of those bags, pass me one of those bags, pass me one of those bags. Okay, so in this picture, on this left-hand side was our Mental Health Awareness Week. So we're really trying to promote, mental health awareness on our reservation, and a lot of other reservations are doing this, and even in your communities, you guys are. And so we're doing this in our community, and we had Clara Hughes. She's a big part in our community. She holds a place in our heart. Let's put it like that. She helped us a lot, and she really taught our team a lot of good things. And you want to go back one slide? You want to go back one slide? Thank you. Okay, so why I did that was these two, and this fella in the middle, that's Sam McCracken. And he's the guy that helped set up the Nike N7 Foundation. And I just want to say a little bit about it quick. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know this, but have you ever seen native feet? It's kind of weird, right? But a native foot is not like your guys's, right? When we take a step, we're like elephants. Our feet go over our shoes, right? We ran in moccasins all our life, right? So this fella, he's like, we got fat feet. And all these other shoes, Adidas, Nike, they make shoes for fat feet people, right? And so they did. That's Nike SN7, that's Nike N7. And so if you buy their shoes, they fit comfortably. And so going on, this is Kenny Dobbs. And a few years ago, actually, let Grant talk about this.
Okay, don't mind me here. It's my first presentation in a long time. So, this is Kenny Dobbs. He's a world-class dunk champion, and he's almost 7 feet tall. Dunked over another 7-foot person, so that's tall. This was Mental Health Awareness Week, He was a very inspirational person. He was a, how do I say it? He has a very good message to the youth, so it was good to have him out. Oh, this was, who remembers the Fort Mac fires? Of course, we all do, right? SN7 had the opportunity to work with Save the Children to, it's called child-friendly, what's it called? Child-friendly safety space. It was a space no bigger than maybe the room here, right? We had to fit about 30 to 40 in a space. This is the N7 National Youth Summit in Niagara Falls. So this is a big a presentation for us in front of the CEOs and officials of the First Nations communities. Let's see. Okay, this one is the missing emerging Indigenous women girls. Yeah, a little run here. It's always fun to run with the youth. More pictures here. Okay. Oh, Calgary Hitmen, WHL team, right? Came out to practice with us. That was big opportunity for them. We went to go to the San Francisco Giants. They came to the McMahon Stadium, took them there, and this was Bell Let's Talk. What is it called? Suicide Mental Health Day. And is that it? And I don't know about that.
So just to wrap things up here, Riley invited some Olympians out a couple months back, and there we have Erica Weeby, and I believe that is Helen Upperton. My mistake. The poster for Team India, and last week we had family day where everyone had a day off. Us, we worked. We opened up the gym, and we held just as much activity as we could for the youth. You can continue on. So that last one, I should go back to the last one there. Crisis Center. SN7 works with Crisis Center. We did a fundraising gala with Paul Brandt, so we had him come out, and everything that was donated and raised from that event went back to sponsoring the Crisis Center. Lord knows that funding is tough these days, so that's something that we were very fortunate to be a part of. Next one here. Royal Indigenous Games. You guys are aware that we have a runner on the team, and Riley is that runner. That's kind of his bread and butter. We also bring up the youth from Siksika to the Alberta Indigenous Games. That's a great event, man. Anybody in your community, Métis, whoever, get them into that Alberta Indigenous Games. It's just a great event that the kids can take part of. They compete each other, they make friends. It's you hardly see those events anymore. There you have it, a summer student program. We had a staff of 25 last summer. So imagine going from yourself, 8, and then having a staff of 25, and then just having them wanting to do things, wanting to be a change maker. It's awesome, actually, to tell you the truth. But we've been lucky to know Janet, and she's invited us to this, so I hope you really enjoy what you've seen. And if you have any questions, the fellas are here.
Oh yeah, so stay up here. Stay up here. High five, good support, good job, good job, good job, good job. All right, Tracey comes back up. All right, so obviously 10 more minutes or so for questions. So do we have any questions? Oh, we do, from the crowd. I'm coming back. Making me walk. That's okay, getting my steps.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say thanks to both of you guys for presenting. That was wonderful and a lot of information for us to take in. My question is for the SN7 program. I just wanted to know, how have you found the SN7 program translated into broader communities and making change in and with other reserves for this movement that you're making? It seems so impactful, and I just want to know how you're impacting those around you.
So a lot of the guys on the team know people from different nations, and we're always inviting other nations in and around Treaty 7 and in northern communities to come and attend some of our events. We actually want to expand and help them develop their programs. It might seem like just like it's a camp, but it's the networking, it's communicating with the other communities and inspiring them basically. They usually have their own programs running. It's just we're in there to kind of jumpstart and get the vibe going. We've got guys like Ethan, right? There's guys back home that are really loud and vibrant, and I think that's the key, is to have individuals that really enjoy what they do and really want to leave an impression on the youth. So the staff that we have had here, actually I want to ask Jessica to come up and answer that question, because Jessica is very good at articulating these things.
Go, Jessica. How the question is, how have you influenced other nations around you, or particularly even within your own community? How are you spreading the word?
I guess we're spreading the word by, we're all post-secondary students. I'm actually in my doctorate program already for my PhD in counseling psychology. So, so we network with different schools all over. I have networks in MRU and UFC, and we do a lot with the friendship programs in Sarcee and in Calgary. We have so many different connections, and we try to, and especially Everactive now that we're partnered with them, it's amazing. But we do a lot of connections, and we do a lot of networking. And it's basically just from person to person, we go and talk. We have like Ethan, Riley, Grant, and like so many different change makers in our little group that we have that are very well endowed with professional communications. And they, throughout their years of networking, we've done social media blitzes, and like we've done posters all over everywhere. And throughout that, we also get a lot of attention from other nations, like Sutina, Begani. They show interest in having us come out and teach them how to do energizers. We do a lot of energizers, and we do like, for conferences, for breaks, we do a lot of that. And a lot of people want to know how to do that. Like we just did a presentation for some teachers that wanted to know how to keep their kids active. So Golden Hills School, we did that for, and it was amazing. So we're starting to get more traction. That's how we do inspire other nations around us.
Awesome, thank you. We have a question here. There you go, Carlito.
I heard the N7 program first when I was in the school. So I did the first attempt, and I was declined. But last year, I got approved for 20,000 plus for the program. And we're just starting yet. We don't have lots of things that we can show off, like the Siksika Nation. But maybe next year, I will accompany you showing what we can do with the N7 fund. Thank you.
So, Carlito, and had you learned about SN7 through like ARPA and these kind of networking opportunities? You heard about them before because of the work there? From your chief. So the word's getting out to your chief about what they're doing. Interesting, good. Any other questions? Okay. Sure.
I just want to add to that. I've been out to Siksika quite a few times to job shadow and to kind of get ideas as to some of the programs that the Siksika First Nation is involved with, especially around the youth. So I know Janice Dorr quite well. I've met most of the crisis team, and I know that my physiotherapy put in for one of the SN7. They had a call for proposal last year. I'm not sure where we're at in the process. But, you know, again, congratulations. You guys are doing fabulous work. I'm inspired by what you're doing. We work with a lot of youths in the community of Mali as well, and I know something like that would be very worthwhile for them.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we have time for one more question. Is there one more question in the crowd? One more question? Oh, haha, Chris. I knew you couldn't be quiet for long.
Hi, guys.
Hey. Samson Trees in the house. Back there hiding.
Muscat Cheese in the house. I just wanted to ask you guys, how did you guys get your funding?
So we are very fortunate enough to sit under the leadership of Siksika Health Services. So a lot of what the ideas we bring forward to health services, they support us in this, and they're the ones that are actually out there looking for the grants for us. They're requesting our programs, what we want to do, our ideas. We have surveys, and those surveys come from the youth. We collect, every event we have surveys. That's something that we could have touched on in the evaluation. But we take these ideas, we bring them forward to Siksika Health Services, we sit down, and then we kind of discuss on some of the things that we can do for our community. They're the ones that go out and find these grants and make these connections for us. They tell us that, yes, you'll be able to conduct this program, yes, you'll be able to have this event, and it's through their support that we were able to bring the Calgary Hitmen, we were able to bring Team India. We actually sponsored a midget girls team to play in the Wick Fest. I don't know if you guys know about that, but that's an international female hockey tournament, and it's from young as peewee, as old as midget. So Haley Wickenheiser is doing a great job with what they got going on there. We've partnered with her, so we'll be sending another team again next year. So really, to answer your question, it comes from health services, and we're very fortunate enough that they actually have our back to give us the ability to do what we can do. Our focus is just on the youth, connecting with them, ensuring them that there's something to do so they're not bored at home. There are some issues and challenges, and that's why we're here to network with you guys too, to see what you guys have done to face some of these issues. Our biggest challenge is transportation, right? We've tried to run consistent programs, but the attendance has been sporadic at best. In the summertime, it's great because nobody's in school, right? So we have programs during the day, and that's where we get the meat of our activities going. As I said, there's 9 of them that are in school. So when they're not in school, they come back to the recreation facility, and then we ensure that they can come there, hang out, be active. There's the ice, there's the gym, there's a fitness facility. We just quad diamonds. So we have Grant and his buddy played on a U18 team for Team Alberta. Grant's actually been to Alaska on an all-star team and pitched in an international tournament there. So he's going to be heading our baseball program with our minor sports coordinator. So Grant's got a lot of work to do here coming up here because the season's changing fast. But there's just so much that we have going that I wish we could share. But you know what? Just thanks for having us.
Yeah, be in contact, right?